are here. Okay, I'll go ahead and start that. All right, so welcome everybody. My name is John McCormick. I am president of the Chamber Board this year, and very excited to welcome you all to, I guess it's a bi-monthly, semi-monthly Coffee with the Mayor, which they've been great all year, and we will continue to do them. Just briefly, you might have seen, you may have gotten, I'm noticing you're being promoted to a panelist. We're having, it's a Zoom webinar thing, so just bear with me, but it's going to work just like a normal Zoom meeting. We're gonna, and as per our normal process, what we're gonna do is start with Mayor Candell, who will give us a little update on the state of the city. We're then going to turn over to, when she's done with that, turn over to Jay Lifson, our executive director, who will start us off with a few questions, and then we're going to turn over to you all, and you can just kind of raise your hand and ask your question when needed. If needed, we'll do some moderation, but it's been pretty good about people just kind of self-regulating. So, Mayor Candell, without further ado, I'm going to turn over to you.
Great. Good morning, everybody. Another nice day without any smoke, luckily. I think we're heading to get a lot of smoke. We're just being lucky at the moment with Carl, the wonderful fog in San Francisco, pushing it inland for us. So people at Tahoe are not so lucky these days. Anyways, so first off, we have an agenda item on Monday, next Monday's council meeting, and I'll read to you what the staff report has said, and then it's an update on the Lafayette American Rescue Plan, the ARPA program timeline and elements. So in the staff report, it says the city will receive a total of $6,372,376. Half of that money was received the week of July 14th. So we have half of that money in the bank right now. And the second half will be distributed in July of 2022. So as indicated in the staff presentation on June 28th, all funding must be obligated by December 31st, 2024, and spent 2 years after that by December 31st, 2026. So we will spend all that money by December 31st, 2026, and likely, hopefully far earlier. So the rules about this money is that there are 4 broad categories. And so we can spend it on in response to COVID-19 public health emergency and any of its negative impacts. That was number 1. Number 2 is to respond to workers performing any essential work during the pandemic. 3, for the provision of government services to the extent of the reduction in revenue due to the public health emergency relative to revenues collected in the most recent full fiscal year prior to the emergency fiscal year 2019. So basically all this 2020 and now into 2021, and you lost revenue by the city. And then 4 is the 4 investments in water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure. And so that one is really interesting to me too. That one is, we don't really know where the barriers of that one are. So basically, we are going to, in draft, propose that we're gonna be talking about on Monday. The process is during the week of July 12th, we're going to develop a business survey. We are focused on getting most of the money to businesses. At least that's how council is indicated so far. So the week of July 12th, we'll have a business survey developed. The week of July 19th, we're researching the Yifty gift card program and other similar options to determine the logistics of establishing a Lafayette community gift card program. And the thought would be is that the city would buy a whole ton of gift cards and basically give them away to people. That, in a nutshell, that's the thought. The week of July 26th, we're going to launch the business survey, and apparently it's going to be a Survey Monkey. And then the week of August 16th, the business needs survey will close. And so by the middle of August, hopefully we'll have all of our survey results back. So that means when we launch this thing, we're going to get it out to everybody, and we're going to make a broad, it's not just through the chamber. There's a couple of different ways that we're going to try to get the word out to everybody. So once we do that, if council approves this program, that's how we're going to launch it. And I hope I know it sounds a little bit, to me, it sounds a little bit slow. I was hoping we would be able to launch something earlier than that, but we do want to take our time and get this business needs survey and the results back before deciding what to do. So hopefully all you guys will hear about it, and I'm sure the chamber will be partnering with us, and we'll send that out. Okay, so that is the ARPA funds. Next, a big thing that we did do this last month, and I have to say that it was, I'm actually pretty excited about it, was that we were able to file an appeal for our RENA housing element allocation. And so what happened, it's kind of a cool story. So what I'm going to share my screen because it's kind of a story. So here, then I'll show this first. Let me see, go now, share. Okay, so if you can see this big spreadsheet here. All right, so first off, this Lafayette line is highlighted here. So what happened is that we had, going into last December, we had an allocation of 1,600 units and broken down into very low, moderate, and above market rate housing. And it was around 1,600. And that was kind of a sticker shock to us. But then in December, all of a sudden the final allocation came out and we jumped up to 2,114. And at that point, it was like, wow, what happened? Why did Lafayette jump? So I kind of looked at the numbers, and I got all the numbers for the county and all the other ones. And so if you look at this plot, if you look at it for our city in numbers, we had this jump, I get that. But if you look at it per our population, so I got all the population numbers, look at that. We're a total outlier. So the city of Lafayette, we absolutely were the outlier in our county per our population. And so at that point, we've got Greg Wolf, who is our planning director, and then Diana Elrod, who is our housing consultant. At that point, I'm like, hey, I know the fifth cycle housing element, ABAG made a mistake. Don Tatson and Randy Anderson were able to uncover a mistake that they made for Lafayette. So I went in, to this thinking, okay, if they made a mistake last time, it's likely they made a mistake this time, but we didn't know what it was. So going in and searching it, and this is why it's really great to have great, smart people in the city of Lafayette. And so working with fellow council member Gina Dawson, and then also Stella Witherspoon, who is one of our transportation circulation commissioners. What happened was that, so ABAG, here's the map of Lafayette, and then the kind of brownish area is our priority development area. That is our downtown, our typical downtown Mount Diablo, south of Highway 24. And that's where we basically have been putting all of our growth. But ABAG, on this new sixth cycle, they expanded the regions to include this green region. And that is a transit-rich, high-resource area. So basically, it's within a half mile of BART or a little bit beyond. And you can see here that it extends south of Highway 24, as well as north of Highway 24. The problem is they were supposed to, and this is what we figured out going into this, is they were supposed to overlay our very high fire hazard severity map over these growth geographies. They call these the growth geographies. They were supposed to overlay those. And in the draft allocations, when we had 1,600, they did overlay it. And so basically they ignored everything north of Highway 24. But then we got this final one. You see, this is the final blueprint. Oops, they forgot to overlay it. So that's when I was like, Diana and Greg, you guys, we have to have a meeting with ABAG, please. And they basically said, that never happens. We'll never get a meeting. And I'm like, I don't care, make it happen. And they did. And so we sat and we had a meeting with, now I forget his name, but kind of a mucky muck, and then a technical guy. And it was Greg, Diana, and Councilmember Dawson and I. And so when we got to that meeting, we didn't know, we knew that they didn't overlay this map. We didn't know if it mattered. So as we're talking, we asked him directly, what did you guys do in December that made this jump? And he said, okay, so we had to add 10 new strategies. And we're like, okay, that doesn't help. But he goes, but one of them was adding public lands and looking at public lands, assuming they can be developed for housing. And so when you look at public lands, and we're like, wait, does that include our BART parking lots? And he goes, well, yes. And then we went, wait, but weren't you supposed to overlay your very high fire hazard severity map over all that public land? And that's when he goes, oh, well, yeah, I guess we didn't do that. And I'm like, well, and so pushed him a little farther. It's like, so that means you added our parking lots and you added that to our potential growth patterns, but you shouldn't have because it's in a very high fire hazard severity zone. He goes, yeah, I guess that looks like what it's happens. And that can be a basis for an appeal. And we went, yay, bravo. So we buttoned all this up and we filed an appeal asking back those 822 units that are on our BART parking lots that they should not have added. So we filed it. We feel it is likely one of, if not the strongest appeal form that they're going to get in the Bay Area because they made a mistake. They're by statute, they're supposed to follow certain rules and do this the right way. And they messed up. They made a mistake. And so we asked for the 822 back, but we likely won't get it. We likely won't get them all, which would bring us down to about 1,200, which would be a far more, right now it's looking like a far more palatable number we would easily be able to do, likely even within our current zoning. We probably won't get down to 1,200, but we asked for it. So the timeline on that is that right now we've submitted all the appeals. In September, we get to pitch it to ABAG. People are allowed to comment on it now. Then we pitch it in September. They'll come back to us in I think, December with if they're going to grant any of the appeals. So I'm optimistic. I'm definitely optimistic. Diana's like, yeah, don't get too optimistic. I'm like, come on. This one seems pretty clear that they made a mistake and they shouldn't have included those lands, and we'll get some of them back. So to me, that's some good news. That's some positive news. It'll just make it easier for us to achieve our housing element. As Matt Pease, he's here, as Matt Pease knows, I have to identify less opportunity sites in our town in order to achieve our housing element, which we will do. So hopefully that's going. And I see Candace on the thing. I did call Candace as soon as we figured this out. I called the county because they also had a big jump. Unincorporated county also had a big jump. And I'm like, Candace, I don't know if this situation also affects any of your public lands that are in unincorporated county. And Candace, are you there? Did you guys file an appeal?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. We did. We absolutely filed an appeal even before, and you alerted us to the potential that they did not do the fire danger overlay. We were already planning to file an appeal on a variety of other issues as well. So we have filed an appeal, and again, wait and see. RENA's been the bane of all of our existence. It's very well meaning. We all know we need more housing. We all want to build more housing, but this isn't even aspirational. It's just unattainable. And it almost always has been. This is a battle I think every city's been facing for, since RENA began 25, 30 years ago, when we all had to, it may have even gone longer. That's how long I've been involved. But I do appreciate that call, Susan, and the deep dive you took, which I immediately, after receiving your call, called up our planning director, John Kopchik, and just said, hey, have you looked at the fire danger? So thank you, Lafayette, for taking a deep dive on that.
You're welcome. Absolutely. Not a problem. So when Candace talks about being unattainable, so in this spreadsheet, I did the math in terms of if we build, the way we get our affordable housing right now is we build market rate and we get a certain percentage of affordable housing along with those. So optimistically, we get 20% affordable for each market rate. That we don't really get that, but I was just trying to be conservative. And at that rate, given if we still have that 2,114, we need another $660 million to build all those affordable units based on a $600,000 per unit cost. And so I don't know where that money is going to come from. So we're going to fail. I mean, I don't see that money. Our governor is apparently putting in money to help build affordable housing, but I think it was in the neighborhood of the 10 to maybe $20 billion. And I added up that money in terms of affordable units, assuming that every single city builds market rate and gets 20% inclusionary. Our county alone needs $14.8 billion. So our state isn't even getting enough for our county to build enough affordable housing. And so, yeah, we are being set up to fail, which is very unfortunate. So, all right, so that is RENA. And what else is going on in the city? Oh, COVID. So this is more on a personal note. And my husband, who's an internist in Orinda, 3 of his vaccinated nurses came down with COVID. And that's half of his staff. And so his office is shut down and they're being telemedicine for the next 2 weeks to be careful. And I just want people to know that vaccinated people are getting COVID. The people who are sick and in the hospital are unvaccinated. So it's unlikely that anybody who is vaccinated will get sick enough to go to the hospital, but we are getting it. And so I don't know what that means moving forward. I think Chris Farnatano came out yesterday with they're encouraging all employers to require vaccinations for their workers. I know that's a little unpalatable for some of us. I know my employer has required proof of vaccination for us to enter into the building without masks. And so that's a step, but our health director is saying it's okay to require it at this point, obviously with medical and religious exemptions, reasonable exemptions. So that's a thought for all of you employers out there. Do you want to comment on that, Candace? That I just heard that yesterday.
Yes, we did. He did offer out this advisory. We really are just at this point, when you look at the unvaccinated are coming down with COVID at 10 times the rate of the vaccinated. And as Susan pointed out, those are the unvaccinated are the ones who are getting hospitalized. And there's a really good chart we have for those of you who love the county's data that is just showing the trajectory of those who are vaccinated versus those who are not. And so right now we're averaging, I think it's about 30 per 100,000 of unvaccinated are getting it, whereas 3.8 who are vaccinated. So again, I know people are saying, well, it's not FDA approved yet, or if all the rest of you are vaccinated, I shouldn't have to worry. You do have to worry. And it does, as Susan pointed out, her husband's practice is a prime example where even, those who are medical professionals, and probably all of your husband's staff was vaccinated, you can still get it. And the scary thing is most of us who are vaccinated aren't regularly going and getting tested. We could be asymptomatic and unfortunately passing it on. And so that's why we're getting a little more serious about masking. Last week, the advice, and it wasn't mandatory, but to start masking when you go in public. And so when I'm going back in the grocery stores, I'm putting my mask back on. It's just, we all want it to be done. We all just wish it was over. It's not yet. And if you've got anyone who's not vaccinated, do your best to get them vaccinated for their protection. There are just so many horrible stories of people I know who have died because they chose not to get vaccinated, or who have died because a loved one wasn't vaccinated and they were at much higher risk. So not looking good. I'm hopeful. I was really, to be honest, I was afraid that when Dr. Farnatano was coming out with a press release yesterday that he was actually going to mandate masking. Santa Clara County has really wanted to go back to, for the last week, mandating masking in public. I'm hoping we're still not there. Again, we want to give people a little choice, but voluntarily, I think if we all mask, other people will sort of feel, oh, maybe I should mask too. So thanks for highlighting that, Susan.
Absolutely. All right. So that is it for the things that I was going to talk about. So I'll turn it back over to Jay.
Good morning, everybody. Speaking from firsthand experience, who masks everywhere they go, you never know. You can get COVID. I was tested positive yesterday, and I wear my mask everywhere. But it happens,
Encouraging.
and so it's crummy. But I think that I know that there's so many different agencies and groups that are working on trying to get people vaccinated. Maybe there's some things that we haven't thought about to get the rest of our community vaccinated. Luckily, we're at such a high percentage in Lafayette and in Contra Costa. That's the good news. But the bad news is there's still people out there that are not vaccinated. And I know that for someone who is already vaccinated, the illness will probably be much slighter. But you can still get it. I don't think they even know if you can shed it or not, but certainly we need to be very vigilant about this. So
you can shed it. I'm just going to tell you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
I don't mean to interrupt you, Jay, but that also goes back to if you even have a runny nose or a little cough or something, or just you're feeling a little not yourself, don't go out in public. Really don't.
Right.
The
symptoms are different now. The symptoms are different. And so any cold related symptoms, go get tested.
No,
that is a great comment. So I was traveling last weekend, and so the day before I went and got tested, I was negative. I came back. I thought I was either having a cold or allergies. I went and got tested, and I was positive. So that's exactly right, Candace. Yeah.
Now's not the time to take chances.
Yeah,
and
right.
Wishing you a speedy recovery. And
right, thanks.
after you're vaccinated, you're probably going to bounce right back.
Okay, so on to some of the other stuff. First of all, Susan, being able to uncover that information on the RENA numbers and the allocations, that's extraordinary. Thank you to your team and you for getting that done. That's an amazing, that could be a game changer for our community. So thank you. Okay, so going on, we have a meeting next Tuesday night. There's a community conversation going on about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And this will be at the Lafayette Library and Learning Center in the amphitheater. And we have a number of groups that will be coming to basically sort of talk about what their organizations are doing. So we have some of the schools, some of the churches and synagogues coming, as well as the chamber. Matt will be representing the chamber, just talking about what we've done in the last year. So, as most of you know, the city council, after the murder of George Floyd, sort of took this up like many communities did. And after a couple of sessions with a facilitator and the city council and people from the public, the city council handed it off to a community committee to work on this. And we've been working on this every week we meet. And we're hoping to bring back some reflection or ideas by September back to the city council. Anyway, this meeting on Tuesday night will be a number of groups talking, and then we're going to open it up to people to give us their experiences, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. We want to hear about what the aspirations are, what we like to see our city become. We'd like to know, in our particular world, where we feel that the employees in Lafayette are certainly the most diverse part of our community. How do they feel about working here? How do they feel about how they're treated? Would they want to live here? So we're trying to get down to the answers of this. But I was hoping, Susan, I know Susan and Teresa will be there on Tuesday night. What is your hope for what we can get out of this first public meeting?
So how we imagined this to happen was that City Council kind of launched this effort, but the thought was that we would hand it off to these groups, to these diverse groups, to tell us what they need and what they want and their aspirations. And so you're right, it's been hands off by council for the last couple of months. And so I'm really excited to hear what you guys have been doing, to be honest. But this is how we imagined it to be. Council shouldn't be dictating what everybody should be doing. We should be listening and hearing. And once we hear, then we try to take action to help. And so I'm hoping to hear lots of good ideas and maybe hopefully a lot of actionable ideas. That would be terrific. I'm not participating as such. I'm more, we're there to listen and to learn. And so I hope everybody is there and sharing and being honest and open, telling us what's going on.
Thanks, Susan. One last question for me, and that is going back to the federal funds that you've received. So, it seems like the use of the money is pretty broad, a lot broader than I think we originally expected it being, it had to be, 100% COVID related. And economic development and some of those things are part of the way you can use that money. So John and I met with Thomas and had a pretty open conversation about that. I think one of the toughest parts for the city to grapple with will be what's going to be fair to everyone, whether it's the residents or the employees or the employers or the landlords or the renters. How can that money be best used? We know that a lot of businesses that didn't make it are not going to be entitled to any of that money because they don't exist anymore. But what about, have you guys given some consideration to, I'm going to give you one example, and that is that we've had for, I don't know how many years now, many, we've had a situation where the assessment district is always underfunded. And it's a budgetary issue every single year. And right now, the unfunded expenses for the downtown assessment district is over $250,000. Could this money be used, could be set aside to basically make up that $250,000 deficit each year and stop trying to find a magical way to receive that money? It's very doubtful that the property owners would ever vote to tax themselves more. So could something like that be done? And could it be used for maintenance on projects that have been that have already been developed or in the in the pipeline, where there's always money to actually maintain them as well? Would that be a good way to spend the money on behalf of everyone in the community?
Absolutely. I sure hope that there is room in this to address all of those things. And the other piece of this is that even if we can't spend it directly on that, I think there's ways that we can directly spend monies following the rules that would free up general fund monies to fund those things. And so to me personally, that is I sent that off to Narup instantly. I'm like, can we please do this? And the core assessment districts, as well as the East and West End, also are very underfunded. And so, and in dire need of some help. So I sure hope so. That if I had my choice, if I could just make the rules, I would be aiming right at those. Yeah,
and in fairness to the East End, they have always been paying more than their share. So this might be an opportunity, for them to get, what they deserve.
I sure hope so.
Thanks.
I sure hope so.
John, back to you.
All right, thank you, Jay. Excellent. Great. Well, thank you. A great update, Susan. Again, I also applaud the resourcefulness of the city staff and you for figuring out the arena thing. That does seem like a little glimmer of hope. But now we're going to turn over to you guys, to everybody else on the Zoom call. As you may have seen, you may have been promoted to panelists, which means we can see your face if you so inclined. But if you just like to go ahead and raise your hand, you should have a little raise hand option, which I see we've already got one already, Abby, and that can kind of give us the order in which we'd like to basically take the questions. And so as you see, Susan's really open with things and very transparent, and let's take advantage of that. So Abby, why don't we start with you and then we'll keep going from there.
Hi, good morning, everyone. This is my first time joining this, so I appreciate the venue. I think I just sort of thought 8 o'clock in the morning was something I couldn't manage, but maybe it is. Since I don't have to drive to the office right now, I can spend this time here. So thank you for creating this forum. Mayor Candell, I had a question just to follow up on the last conversation that you're just having in terms of sort of swapping out the federal funds for other funds that we already have dedicated. So if in our city budget we have things dedicated to particular activities, and those could be funded by this federal money. It sounds like what you're saying is we could swap those out and then have money that we could use sort of more at our discretion rather than being constrained by the requirements of these federal funds. I was wondering if you could just sort of expand on that a little bit, just to make sure my understanding is correct. And if staff, it sounds like Narup is looking into this, but if there are, you know, large chunks of money that you're already identifying that we could free up for projects that are more at staff or community's discretion that were already going to be funded in our budget.
Right. And so the details, obviously, we haven't worked out. We're just starting to approach that. But it was spoken about at that last council meeting that we can't, the money can just go literally into our general fund and be spent. The monies themselves do need to be directed exactly by the rules. But if it was money that our general fund was going to spend anyway, that's the way we can backfill, right? And so I think we should be able to achieve some. I mean, I'm hoping, you know, we did that whole downtown study, right? It was one of our strategic objectives, and there were tons of good ideas in terms of, you know, revitalizing downtown or helping it, or some growth projects. And I hope that we can actually do some of those within the rules of the ARPA funds. Unfortunately, the devil's going to be in the details, but I think we can get there. It sounds like we can get there.
Thank you.
Great, thank you, Abby. Any other questions for the mayor? It was a great update on what she gave us going on in the city, but does anybody else have any questions for her? Or drinking our coffee?
Jay has one.
Okay.
You're muted.
Be
You're muted again.
Hi again. Before I forget, I just wanted to. I see that Suzanne Larla is on the call today, and I just wanted to introduce her. Maybe she'd like to just jump on and say hello. Suzanne took Jeff Heyman's spot on the city staff, and we're happy to have her with us. And she hit the ground running. She's been just great at keeping our community up to date on everything that's going on. So, Suzanne, would you like to say hello?
Yes, good morning, everybody. My name is Suzanne Erla, and Jay, thank you for that great introduction. I'm super excited to be here working for the city of Lafayette. And in any ways that you communicated with Jeff in the past, sharing news or information about events in the community, please do go ahead and share those with me. I have the same phone number as Jeff, and my email is on the city website. But yeah, look forward to working with each of you in the future. And I'm really excited to be here.
Yes, we were very lucky that Suzanne chose to join us. She is more than qualified for this position, and that is exciting. She's definitely a go-to person, straight out of the chute. And Jeff has been working with her, but not even that hard, I don't think, because she's coming in so strong. So thank you, Suzanne, so much for joining us.
Thank you, Mayor.
Excellent. I have to admit, it was one of those things when the city hired Jeff, I was thinking, oh, is communication that important? But it is so much. And I think the city does such a good job keeping everybody in the loop. I mean, you have to opt in, but if you're in, it's really terrific. So it's great. Sarah, I see you are next.
Hi, good morning. Thank you so much. This is my first time joining this meeting. I'm new to John Muir Health. I started about 6 months ago, and I have less of a question and more just wanted to second the comments that were being made today by Supervisor Anderson and Mayor Candell about the importance of vaccines. We've been working really, really hard to try and make sure that everyone in our communities has access to vaccines. I think that the rise in COVID is feeling manageable, but we do have a census right now of 29 COVID patients in our inpatient centers. So would strongly support that, if folks know folks who aren't yet vaccinated, it's really easy to get, and we would love to have them.
Thank you. Great message.
Absolutely.
Hey, Carol, I know that, so Lafayette Community Foundation, there were some announcements if you wanted to talk about what the Community Foundation is doing.
Okay, thank you, Susan. Among other things, we are hoping to establish more partnerships with local businesses to help the Lafayette Foundation in its mission to assist worthy nonprofits in our area. We are also hoping to have our annual winemakers dinner. We did not have it, of course, this last February. And we tentatively, well, we have the date of September the 21st.
Nope, we're not. I'm on the winemaker committee, and that date is likely come and gone. We're likely now aiming for October.
Okay, thank you,
Yep.
Susan. All right, yeah. Plans have moved with our new situation with COVID. So we're just, all right, thank you. And same thing, we also have plans to have our annual senior symposium, which we normally have in August. The date this year is October 2nd. And again, our general venue has been to have it at the Alcalanes High School, but Alcalanes has not given us the go-ahead. And so we're looking at alternatives. And the hope was to be able, of course, to have an in-person symposium. It may be different. So stay tuned. Difficult times. But we really are hoping to continue to build support for our very worthy organization. We are the foundation in Lafayette that supports our nonprofits. And the Chamber, of course, has been a wonderful, wonderful partner. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
Great. Anybody else have a question for the mayor? No, I think that was.
I have a question. What about art and wine? Is anybody? What's going? Sorry,
Yes.
All right,
Any
Jay,
thoughts,
you might
Jay?
give us an update.
Like what about it? You know, it's funny. Sarah and I had a little side chat that said, let's not talk about art and wine today with everything else going on. So let's not bring that up. We are planning to move forward, and you know, hopefully, you know, things are going to get better, not worse. We have a plan in place. We will be following whatever guidelines we have to make that happen. Obviously, things could go south, and it could it could cause us not to be able to have the event. But we are sort of steamrolling forward to have it, and I think it's going to be fantastic this year. Right? People are so pent up and ready to go and get out. And of course, you know, if you're not vaccinated, you will be required to wear a mask at the Art and Wine Festival. So, but yeah, it's all coming together. Thank you for asking, Susan.
No problem. Let us know how we can help. I'm sure you're in contact with Ben and everybody to make sure to help you guys out if there are logistical issues that we can help with.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. And it's probably worthwhile to point out, if you can open the chat in the Zoom, Holly in particular does a great job putting in supporting links and information to everything that's being talked about. So in case you have any interest in that. All right, well, are there any other updates that anybody wants to make? No, oh yes, Tracy. Oh, sorry, you have to unmute, please. There we are, excellent.
Okay. I'm Tracy Farrell with the Park Theater Trust, and I'm joined here with Jana Corey as well, and we're on the board of directors. Couple updates. We have launched, actually over the last few months, we've been looking at potential operator candidates. You know, we anticipate closing by the end of this year, and we have had a terrific subcommittee working on furthering the research that was done initially a couple of years ago into possible operator outreach, basically, and refining that research and getting more focused on actual candidates. We've identified 3 potential candidates, all very strong, all with a different kind of a little different orientation a little bit. But the key thing for the board is that we look at their RFPs, which are coming in this week, to ensure that, you know, they've got a solid management team, you know, financials, good, strong financial track record, and have a focus on community engagement. If you're familiar with our website, which is parktheatertrust.org, it has a lot of information on that. And we've reached this point after, of course, 3 years of a lot of hard work, and really most phenomenally with the support of the Lafayette Community Foundation. And so I want to, do a shout out to Carol and to all the rest of you. Of course, the chamber, as Jay knows, he's my muse, and that whole team over there has been fantastic with us. But we could not be where we are without the Community Foundation. And from the get-go, we came to them hat in hand as this little fledgling nonprofit, and they embraced us and have supported us consecutively 3 years as recipients of their excellence grants. And so, we're just so grateful to them, and are sort of their, I can't claim to be their poster child yet, but we're sure working hard to get to that honor. It's interesting talking here or hearing here about the new COVID regulations. And just one more thing on this operator search. The RFPs will come in this week. We're in the process of scheduling a time where the operators will come in and actually present to the board and the overall team, which includes Jay of the Chamber of Commerce and Narup of the city, because we feel it's critical. We were a city task force to begin with. This is a community asset, a community treasure, and we must have everybody's input. So we're trying to schedule those. It's like herding cats right now, but we'll get it done. Back to the community announcements or discussions of COVID. We are also trying to plan a small fundraising event in October with the Jennifer Perlmutter Gallery. She's been absolutely terrific about offering her space. And, one of the things that's so iconic and loved about the Park Theater is its marquee of neon. And so Jennifer, as it turns out, has been wanting for years to do a neon art exhibit. And the board is for years wanting to light up the marquee. And we had a survey done, once again, through the generosity of the Lafayette Community Foundation, which funded our survey with this past year's grant. And actually, the thing lights up. I mean, it's maybe not as glowy and bright as we would like, or as it will be when it's, restored. But it was a fascinating day, and we have a goal now of, costs, and we know what we need to do. So we were hoping to do, and we are hoping to do an event in October at the Jennifer Perlmutter Gallery. And then part of that, we met with LPI, Kathy Bowles and I met with LPI yesterday with Danielle Gallagher, because we had, through Judy's community liaison meetings, we had talked with Richard about possibly aligning neon is art, but it's also science. And so how could we bring the schools in? We have artists who are able to do demonstrations for the kids. And yet we learned yesterday that the district will not be allowing people on campus, no volunteers, no speakers, anything like that. So we're going to have to be exploring alternative venues if we can do that. But anyway, stay tuned for that information. It's it should be a fun kind of combination of neon art and activities.
Well, that sounds like so much fun.
Well, we hope
Congratulations.
Thank you. We hope to close the end of this year. We've launched our $8 million capital campaign. We've been receiving, sort of a steady stream of donations, which is absolutely thrilling to us. And, continue to write, trying to write for grants and research foundations and things like that. So anyway, visit our website, and thank you for everybody's support.
Absolutely. Oh, that'll be a fun event. Can't wait.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, I can't think of anything more. There. It looks like Mariella.
Yes, Mariella. Hi, everyone. My name is Mariella Herrick. I am a community development manager with MCE, your local clean energy provider. And I just wanted to share an announcement that we have our MCE Cares credit currently running. So for residential customers who have been impacted by COVID, you can receive a $10 bill credit discount on your bill. And for our business community, we're offering a 20% discount on your bill. It's a simple application that's available to small businesses, and I'll drop the link in the chat. So just wanted to make that announcement. Thank you.
Great.
Very
Thank
nice.
you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's great. Good work.
Hey, I have one more thing. So Matt Peace is here. He, at the GPAC meeting on Tuesday, he and Jim Cervantes and Namrantha members presented our new mission statement. So Matt, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Candell. This is a draft of a new mission statement, and it was based on things that we've heard in the GPAC meetings, as well as a survey that was responded to by about 650 residents in Lafayette. And the idea was to come up with a updated mission statement that could support us for the next 20 plus years. So we're in the very early stages of starting to get feedback from residents. We're going to post this on the city website, and it'll give people an opportunity to give us feedback and comments on it. We're hoping that we can do that through September, and either in late September, early October, present this to the city council for their consideration. Real briefly, the draft we've come up with is that the vision for Lafayette, which is kind of our long-term vision, is it's a safe, welcoming, family-friendly town for residents and visitors, nestled by open spaces and nearby hills with parks throughout the city. And then the mission of how we get there is a vibrant community of residents and business owners who work and volunteer together to make Lafayette a great place in which to live, visit, and grow up. So we're hoping that that is something that people get excited about. It's something that's got some longevity to it and some aspirational characteristics that people get excited about. So that's it. Thanks for mentioning that, Mayor.
Yeah, you're welcome. They did a great job, and the survey results were really terrific. Everybody who participated, it was really a nice mix. And I think the mission statement group that was on this created a nice balance. It was nice in terms of the statement. It seems like it has a lot of depth to the mission statement and has a vision, a mission, and some Lafayette guiding characteristics. So it's a whole page full of really great aspirational goals, as well as, kind of defining what our city means to all of us. And I think they did a great job coining the words. So, but we'll take right now, throw darts at it, please. It'll when it comes out, please, we want everybody's comments about it.
Right. Yeah. Matt actually presented it to the board, the Chamber of Commerce board earlier this week. And I mean, for mission statement, which is usually the cause of amazing amounts of consternation and hand wringing, it was pretty beloved. I have to admit, it was really very, very well received. So that was good.
Good to know. Thank you.
All right. Well, why don't we go ahead and wrap it up, unless anybody has a final comment. It was great conversation, great updates. And I think how about we give you 10 minutes back in your day then? So that's not a bad thing. So we'll all take that. So I guess Mayor Candell, on behalf of the chamber and the community, I'd like to thank you once again for participating and being so transparent, and for the community that joins. It's just amazing, isn't it? How everybody kind of works together. So I think it's a testament to the great place Lafayette is. Yes. All right, everybody. Well, have a great Friday and a great weekend, and we will see you all soon.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.